Hello again, welcome back, Commando. Today you're being enrolled into a special method of training, and I expect great things from you. You've been recommended to watch this video in dangerous times.
4-0 with slicing that security shield. He is supremely qualified.
A time without a Battlefront 3. During this training course, you're going to be learning every single possible tactic in the hit 2017 game, Star Wars Battlefront 2 EA, in a tier list. And as a result of this training, you'll be superior to your more common Battlefront 2 players, for you are a Spinosoft enjoyer, something truly special. So, join your fellow teammates, conquer every server. They are each a part of a whole game, and the Battlefront 2 community will call on you to defend and give your lives,
if need be.
First up on the list, the Speeder, and this one is kind of sad. They sound pretty cool, they're pretty fast, and they have weapons. Wow. They also die to a single shot from anything with competent firepower. Nearly every single Speeder in this game is shit, and a complete waste of time to use. They, and I mean all of them, don't control well at all and are incredibly buggy, especially when interacting with terrain for some reason. The fuck is this? Another epic wholesome fun fact is that you can't aim higher than 3 feet off the ground, leading to half the things you want to shoot at being impervious to any of your attacks or abilities. They're also just bolted onto random maps that are not really built around using one, which is quite a big afterthought. So it turns the already bad experience of using one into an even worse mess, like Mos Eisley for example. The only thing I can really do is wait at spawn and use the side rows to occasionally harass the enemy. Wow, 10 out of 10 gameplay, wouldn't change them at all. F tier. Next, long-range snipers, the classic Battlefield and now Battlefront F-tier strategy. Now, before I start getting riots in the comment section, I'm specifically talking about the type of sniper that sits at the back of the map and defeats 2 enemies in a 30-minute round of supremacy. Sniping has very little impact on the objective, so when half your team is sniping, you do not achieve— oh god, no, I don't want it, please, I don't want to remember, please make me forget, Anyway, so when half your team is sniping, you don't achieve said objective. Sniping works best when you're mobile, picking off key targets, and repositioning constantly. That makes it fun. Also, I know some people are inevitably going to complain in the comment section too about, well, snipers are very useful in war for like giving cover fire, and they like help things by shooting enemies. Star Wars. The very realistic franchise. Look at these designs, man. Just shut up. F tier. Hacking. You should get banished if you do this.
Detention for you.
However, instead of it being a void, like purgatory or something, you're forced to play that Fortnite Star Wars season on repeat forever. Oh no!
Hey, what's up guys, it's Cypher!
That beach.
Technique I was not aware of. Yes, it is a brand new force technique by Gloop Shitto, and he invented it. By Gloop Shitto.
Right, where were we? Oh yeah. Anyway, it's especially bad on Galactic Assault. Also, why do they do this like cinematic camera when you join a match of Galactic Assault with a hacker?
What is happening? You're in a hacked lobby.
I didn't think it really needed to be said, but F tier. And finally, the Stinger and Flash Pistol. It's quite literally just a worse pistol for the Specialist class. Instead of a blaster, which, you know, damages people immediately, the Stinger pistol damages people over time after you shoot them. It does 2 damage per second to infantry and 3 to heroes. Also, the initial hit of the blaster bolt will deal 30. So if you level up enough, you can unlock the ability so that it lasts for a whole 10 seconds. That's 20 damage plus 30 damage initially, adding up to 50 damage in 10 seconds. If you shoot once, of course. Regular troopers have 200 health, by the way, so it's not great. Anyway, the Flash Pistol. Flash Pistols are a gadget for the Assault class, and it can be used as crowd control and a mediocre flanking tool. It blinds enemies as well as firing normal blaster bolts, but it just does like no damage. It takes like 6 hits to kill anyone with this thing, and to add on to its pretty meager specs, it's got a super lousy range. It's good for blinding people though. Anyway, the epitome of mid, F tier.
I am coming back from my 10-minute ban, and I wanted to say that I think it was bullshit.
Anyway, let's get into D tier. First up, the Acid Launcher. It sounds kinda cool, but it's not great and doesn't have a huge amount of uses. The only thing it's really good for is sneaking in some inane, unfunny pyrocynical bit. It does damage, not a lot by the way, over time like the Stinger pistol. Where it excels however is in tight areas with loads of people, like in the corridors of a Star Destroyer. If you shoot one at the enemy's spawn entrance, you can 9 times out of 10 get a kill or an assist for someone shooting at those people. D tier. The LAAT, it's hot garbage. Easily the worst artillery piece in the entire game. Yeah, it's classified as artillery, I don't really know why. Some Confederate—
Count Dooku was a visionary. Their banking clan will sign your treaty.
Good, very good.
Anyway, some separatist fighter will instantly shoot you down because you have no control over the vehicle and can't dodge or evade its attacks. It has shit armor too. The only thing I like about it is that Yoda says this on one in Attack of the Clones.
Around the survivors, a perimeter create.
What? D-tier.
Fell for it again award.
The Cycler Rifle. It's probably the worst sniper in the entire game. It's loud, obnoxious, and is probably the reason Anakin Skywalker impaled a dozen or more children to save his wife during the attack on the Jedi Temple. However, said loud and obnoxious sound is really good. It handles well, and despite being a bit of a piece of shit to use, it's fun, mostly because of the sound and smoke. No one said that this lesson had to make any sense. Detail. The homing shot.
Hey bro, watch your jet. Watch your jet, bro. Watch your jet!
The regular one, not the iron one. It's pretty bad and isn't really effective against enemy soldiers, you know, the target of using one. The premise is that it's like a grenade sort of thing that locks onto enemy soldiers and then explodes when near them. Think guided missile, but worse, with less damage and being incredibly clunky to use. It can be useful in some scenarios, but there are many different abilities that are worth using over this one. D-tier. And finally, the Kamikaze.
Unite for the glory of Japan!
Usually this ranks pretty favorably in my videos, however it is supremely bad in Battlefront 2 and very little damage is inflicted on the enemy when you stop using the torpedoes and become the torpedo. 32 This sucks. Ah! I hit a player for 9 damage. That's awesome. 9 damage. Alright, just leave me alone. I want to crash into someone. I want to see someone on the ground. Oh. It is fun, but just way less effective than other games I've ranked. Well, come on, man. Alright. No. Detail.
Boy, this is a lot more fun when they're not shooting back. I still can't seem to hit anything.
Finally, we're out of D tier and onto C tier, where tactics become somewhat interesting, fun, and effective, alien to my absolutely god-awful playstyle. First up, the thermal binoculars. They're exclusive to the specialist class and can be used to bully other snipers by knowing where they are. They're quite effective and can be used as a quite literal wall hack. Bonus points if you use one, sneak up behind an enemy and take them out with a sidearm, like the Stinger pistol, for that stealthy look, I guess. C tier. Stationary weapons. They're okay, I guess. There's a few of them in this game, like the regular blaster machine gun and the turrets on Hoth. They're all pretty powerful and can be used to kill a few people. However, they're almost always shot at by starfighters or an ATST and don't really have much health. The only thing you can really do before your inevitable demise is to shoot back, because guess what? You can't move a stationary weapon. Whoa! Let's go. C-tier. The Flame Trooper. It's probably the worst of the special troopers, mostly because of its lack of ranged attack, which is quite important in most game modes. This is made up for a bit by using the Mario Fireball Shooter. However, it falls to the ground pretty quickly, so it's not really that ranged. Flame Troopers excel in close quarters, however, and there is nothing like turning an entire squad of rebels, where what are they called? It's like the sequels. The Resistance, and there is nothing quite like turning an entire squad of Resistance into a mass casualty event. It's alright, and you can get heaps of kills if you play your cards right. C tier. The TX-130. If I had to pick, it's probably one of the worst tanks in the entire game. The AAT has better firepower and a height advantage, literally 5'11" versus 6 foot by the way. And the ATST has legs, and it sounds cool while moving. Still, it's alright, and if you don't go in guns blazing and use a little bit of strategy, you can take out many enemy squads and capture an objective or two with one. Overall, pretty fun, and there's nothing really wrong with them that stands out. C tier. Battle Commands. This is a basic star card ability for the officer class that isn't fun but quite useful and versatile. It involves the incredibly complex task of pressing a key on the keyboard and giving your allies next to you various different temporary abilities. There are a few different boosts you get from it, like Fortitude, basically giving you extra health, which is quite useful when you have campers protecting an enemy objective. There's the Blast command, which gets rid of the heat on allied blasters, allowing you to continuously fire volleys of blaster bolts at the enemy. And finally, there is the Recharge command, which gets rid of all the cooldown time for allied star cards within a certain radius.
Inspiring presence. You heard it here first, guys. I'm inspiring.
If you have a friend, you can get someone to equip this card and use it to quickly throw 2 impact grenades at a crowd of enemies, for example. I don't have a clip of this though, so use your imagination. Overall, quite useful, but not very fun. C tier.
I had a good chuckle over that one.
Camping. This is quite a common one, however, I wouldn't call defending an objective camping. Camping is staying in one area and not moving at all, whilst also being annoying. Fun fact about camping, do you know Chicken Wings of Redemption? The guy that went, I can't do this, I can't take this shit no more, man, and crashed out on anyone that ever tried to help him. He was a notorious camper when playing Call of Duty in like 2009 or whatever. This is a cautionary tale. If you camp with a turret like this guy on Geonosis constantly, then you will turn into Chicken Wings of Redemption. Very sad. Anyway, kinda midi. Only do it if you're trying to get a reaction in the game chat. C tier.
This keeps putting a fucking turret up there.
The Archclanker Grievous has joined the battle.
What are you aiming at? What are you aiming at?
What? What? Dude, this guy, I kind of respect the grind, honestly. Bro's just putting turrets down in the same spot. This guy is such a loser. Look at him. I really
Melee only. Usually this sucks and is almost never worth it. However, if you strike at the right time behind an enemy, or if they're blind, you will find great success. The best way to melee people is using the thermal binoculars and using infiltration at the same time. Select Hardened infiltration and swap to your binoculars to get a wall hack of where enemies are. Once behind them, strike and they will not see what is coming at them. Bonus points if you use the Brawler star card to gain health every time you beat someone to death. Not very effective, but very funny. Disruption. Thankfully nobody equips this star card much, but to the free-thinking individuals that do, I hope your day is just slightly worse than average, like you forget your car keys or spill a drink on yourself in public. Anyway, Disruption is an officer ability designed to disable weapons by overheating them within a small radius. Think like the Lesad Battlefield 4 or Battlefront 2 campaign EMP. I also heard somewhere that blasters are powered by an incredible gas, so I don't know how firing an EMP stops them from working. Apart from that heinous destruction of the cannon, holy Reddit.
He has read it, therefore he must kill himself.
It forces your enemies to start trying to beat you to death instead of shooting.
Sick of it! I'm sick of my stupid life!
Which is very inefficient. It's useful in really tightly packed areas like the corridor of a capital ship when you're playing Supremacy, especially if used behind enemy lines, because then you can get rid of blaster fire a bit, allowing your team to push up and finally take out those engines. It's pretty fun. C tier. The Bomber. When playing games with starships available, apart from Star Fighter Assault, because it actually has a use in that game mode, the Bomber is usually the worst choice of the three. It's slower than the other classes, but compensates for the higher HP and damage output. I still think the speed reduction is not enough to make up for those gains though. When you're getting chased by an enemy fighter, it is usually way more effective to maneuver your way out the situation than just tanking the damage. Also, they can be useful if you're just trying to complete the objective, which usually means blowing something up, and thanks to the higher damage output, that task can be done more effectively. The Bomber has around double the health of a fighter, but the time to kill for starships in this game is so quick that it actually doesn't make much of a difference during a dogfight. So, for that reason, I'm putting it in C tier.
The geography that I stands compares you superior.
You underrated my ability!
Is
to B tier. First up, we got personal and squad shields. They're both quite good and make it so the enemy has to use slightly more brain cells.
I have a brain injury.
Oh, I'm sorry to...
My brain is injured.
To decide where to shoot you. They protect you, and most enemy offenses will not circumvent shields. They're both especially useful in corridors or in more compact areas over an objective. The only large trade-off is that you're very visible when one is deployed, and there is always the option of, the enemy shooting your feet. Still, quite useful. B tier. Next, the various different types of explosive add-ons to blasters, like the explosive sentry. I use these star cards quite a bit when using the heavy class. They're fun and effective, and are quite good at taking out light vehicles such as a speeder or an AT-RT, especially with some other type of explosive. They're also good for defending choke points like tight corridors. Overall, very useful and fun to use. B tier. Next, the ion turret and torpedo. These are quite useful for taking out vehicles and nothing else. The ion turret specifically
Oh, wow. Okay.
used to target both vehicles and players, but it got patched out, and now they only fire at vehicles. To be fair, some of these clips pre-nerf look absolutely terrifying, so I can see why DICE took it out. Another fun fact is that it can target starships too. Too bad nobody flies that low anyway. However, if you use both together, you get a loadout that is so good against vehicles, it feels a little bit wrong, and that can really help out your team when the enemy is actually competent. B tier.
I want to whack it with a spanner. Okay.
Moving on, the Ovisian Gunner and the Kafek Spy. These are both from the sequel trilogy, and they're probably the worst reinforcements in the entire game. However, they're still pretty good. Mind you, I am immensely biased, and anything that is sequel related makes me a little bit sad.
This spy has already breached our defenses.
First up, the Ovisian Gunner. It's basically a heavy class trooper with a permanent sentry mode that can also run. Wow. Actually pretty useful, I can't lie. They have various different abilities like an anti-armor mode for taking down vehicles, a charge to hopefully bash some stormtroopers' helmets in, and a defensive stance that can instantly cool the rotary cannon. And there's the Kafek Spy. It's definitely more situational than the Gunner. The Kafek Spy has a truncheon that can whack enemies pretty badly, a rapid firing pistol, and a scanner grenade with a pretty large radius. If it's placed outside, it can be used to call in an airstrike. These all mix together into a reinforcement that is especially good in, wait for it, corridors. I haven't said that enough this video. Anyway, both of these reinforcements definitely have their moments and are both okay. B tier. You've also got another reinforcement, the Wookiee Warrior. It's pretty powerful, but amongst the worst reinforcements in the game. It's got quite a bit of health. They have the Thermal Imploder, a terrifyingly effective grenade, the classic Fortify that temporarily gives you more health, and the Ground Slam. They're okay, but not something I play much at all. Next, the AT-ST. They're incredibly powerful in Battlefront 2, and if you know what you're doing, you can absolutely destroy an entire enemy team. They have quite a bit of health, can easily run people over, and have powerful cannons. They can also scan a large area for enemies to blow up other enemy vehicles and squads with the missiles and grenade launcher. Also, choosing a never quite fully polished game is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural. Yeah, that's an AT-ST climbing. Also, there's the AAT too. It's a better TX-130 in my opinion, however most people seem to disagree with that opinion. In my experience, it absolutely shreds infantry and does a better job at that than the TX-130. Anyway, in the right hands it can be devastating to the enemy, much like the AT-ST. B tier. We got two artillery pieces, the AT-80 and the MTT. They're both very fun and are absolutely iconic, the both of them. However, because they're on rails and can't really move them, they're less effective than they could be. They both have immense firepower, and if someone is unlucky enough to get in between one of them, they swiftly get turned into a puddle of gelatinous liquid. We got 3 grenades, the Impact, Flash and Shock Grenade. All of these are great to use, and provided you use them correctly, you can get heaps of kills with them. The Impact Grenade excels at crowd control, but you can also sneak up behind someone and throw the grenade at their feet, which nukes half their health, then swap to the blaster, and then you got a free kill. Flash grenades blind people temporarily, and if paired with some other explosive, or the good old blaster to the chest, it can be effective too. And lastly, the Shock Grenade. The Shock Grenade can be very powerful against large groups of enemies, and if it's paired with some other explosive, it can be used to leave an entire enemy squad completely helpless. Road Rage, or running people over, a classic staple in all tactic tier lists. Running people over or in the game, but stomping on people never gets old. Always fun. Here are some of my favorite clips. Specialist and Officer. I put these two below Heavy and Assault, but you could swap any of them around for each other. All of the classes are really well balanced in this game. I can't lie, I used to think that the Officer was kind of useless. However, I love some of the pistols that can be used with Officers so much that I often play Officer purely because of that. So satisfying to just get a kill with a pistol. The specialist is great too. The snipers are all good, however personally I don't really snipe much, so I'm ranking it on the lower side. B tier. Also, we got the Barrage, also known as the Dunk machine. As a wise frog once said, use grenade launchers in tight areas and you will most certainly find great success. B tier.
Wing. It's a cave. Form.
Anyway, with B tier over, we now move on to A tier, where all the tactics are genuinely great with very little bad about any of them. The Detonite charge is immensely useful. Think of them like the sticky bombs that can be, you know, remotely detonated wherever you want.
Fucking nuked from orbit. Imagine being that guy.
They also do destroy tanks in one hit, so they're super versatile anti-tank weapons. If you get a full squad together and rush the MTT as a clone squad with a few Detonite charges, detonate and take out an MTT with a few rounds of that over and over again. Works even better against ATTEs. Very good.
Oh my god.
Assault and Heavy. I prefer these two however because of their generally better blasters and star cards. The other two classes have more gadget star cards, so it really depends on what you prefer. A tier. Next up, we got a round of reinforcements, and we've got loads of them. The Sith Trooper, it's a super good reinforcement. They have 3 abilities, namely the Oppression Grenade, wow, way to go Disney, very subtle. That's like making a game and calling the bad guy faction the bad guys or something. Anyway, you've got the Oppression Grenade, a scanner, and a combat rush that gets extended forever, provided you have enough enemies to kill. Overall, very powerful and loads of fun. Much like the Death Trooper, it has a really good blaster, the E11D, and 3 super good abilities. The Sonic Imploder, which blinds people, Overload, which means fire quicker, and Fortify, which gives even more health. Very useful when taking out more than one enemy at a time. I really like the Death Trooper, and they're quite unbalanced if I'm being honest. Good reinforcement. We've also got the Droideka.
Are those Droidekas?
They are no match for
Droidekas.
An incredibly quick, powerful droid with a good shield and high damage output. What's not to love about this thing? Seriously, I really don't know why the Confederates didn't use more of these,
the thunders mutter.
because they probably would have won the war if they had used those instead of those abused droids. Why do I feel bad for B1s, man?
You would not let us ride on one of those creatures with you, sir. If you would allow us to close down for a few moments.
Any more complaints?
No.
Anyway, super good reinforcement, I use these a lot. The Arc Trooper is up next. It has 2 incredibly powerful pistols and a secondary explosive shot that can melt enemies at an advanced rate. It also has a shock trap to stun enemies, a helmet scanner, and another 3rd mode for the blaster to shoot faster, but at a reduced damage output. Good reinforcement. The B2 Super Battle Droid is great too. They do look pretty stupid when running though. You got the standard Fortify, increased power blaster, and the feared wrist rocket, a solid reinforcement. The Commando droid is super good, however I do prefer the B2. It has a really powerful wall hack, the vibroblades for slicing up clones, and smoke grenades that are actually really useful for confusing advancing clones. A tier.
No!
Anyway, Aerial. Now, I'm aware that some of these are slightly different from each other, but they're all similar enough that I'm willing to put them under the same umbrella. It is super fun charging across the fields, forests, and deserts of the various Star Wars planets with a rocket launcher and a jetpack. My favourite thing to do is just shoot an unsuspecting poor bastard with a rocket launcher directly in the head. Never gets old. Just like them. A tier. Fighter and Interceptor. What even to say, they're the other starfighter classes. Not really interesting, but better than the Bomber at most things. I really personally like the A-Wing, X-Wing, and the Arc 170, personally. Scanning. Not enough people do this, and it's ridiculously easy to rack up loads of battle points.
I love you.
Fuck off. The best way to scan something to get battle points is not to find out if someone is behind a wall, for example, but by scanning an already obvious crowd of enemies. If you throw a scan dart at said crowd, you get a cut of all the battle points when they get defeated. You can very easily rack up 2,000 to 4,000 battle points by doing this a few times in a match. A tier. And finally, the Vanguard. It makes you run around incredibly quickly with a shotgun. I really like the Vanguard. Obvious A tier, less shotgun. And finally, we're at S tier. The Clone Commando. It's arguably the best reinforcement in the entire game, and I play with it all the time. It's absolutely amazing, and I have literally zero complaints about it at all. Great blaster, awesome grenade launcher, loads of health, and the all-great Vibro Blade. It also makes me do the soy point because of Republic Commando, despite me never actually playing that game. S tier.
No!
Ewoks and the Ewok Hunt, both incredibly fun to play. The thrill of being a stranded Imperial Stormtrooper or Ewok hunting said Imperial Stormtrooper during the cold, dead Endor night is truly amazing. Not enough people play this game mode, and I really don't know why. It's super fun. Also, there is the Ewok Warrior, strangely insanely good with its aimbot bow and arrow, pouch of fireflies, and the built-in wall hack. S tier.
Fuck, that's Darth Vader. Oh, that was so good.
Remember Droidekas? I was talking about them like 3 minutes ago. Anyway, there's a fun tactic you can do with them specifically on the Venator during a match of supremacy. Once your teammates break the Republic defenses, you can do a mad dash towards the engine room, then sneak behind the inevitable garrison near one and start shooting the overcharge rounds. There's usually a few of these, and they're an absolute pain to deal with because they're so quick. A few Droidekas can take down an entire ship with ease in this game. S tier. Hardened infiltration. I love this ability loads because of the amazing blaster, good speed boost, and the removal of your IP address from the minimap on the bottom left. It's very fun flanking with this. And finally, the aerial first order trooper. It is just so much better than the other aerials, and I think these clips really just explain themselves. S tier. But you might be asking, why is there still some runtime left? Well, we gotta rank the heroes, don't we? So, here's how that goes. All of the heroes have the capacity to change an entire game in the right hands. However, some are easier to do that with than others. For example, BB-9E, shock infantry and spin cable to permanently reduce infantry health to 0. Fire smoke screen to cover inevitable retreat. Lando Calrissian, come up with snarky one-liner, then shoot enemies with aimbot pistol. Shoot shock grenade that scans enemies. Also fire smoke screen to cover defeat. Chewbacca, roar incredibly loudly and turn bowcaster into a glorified grenade launcher, then slam the ground because you just watch your beloved friend and partner die with two morons you've only just met. Captain Phasma, equip awesome armor, say FN218 every 10 seconds, impale rebels with a staff, use glorified mouse droid to shock said rebels, be hyped up as an actually interesting character, then get killed off in some stunt due to millennial writing.
Let's go, Chrome Dome.
Iden Versio. Who? Who's that again? It says here, oh, she's from the campaign. Use pulse cannon. Get killed by better hero. Like Yoda. Yoda. Backwards everything is said. No, why? I do not. Not even funny this bit is. Dash towards enemy with bigger hitbox. Confuse that enemy for a few seconds. Force push before scurrying away and moving to Florida for 35 years. Ray. Say I am Ray.
Shadow Legends.
Get your name called constantly by Finn to the point where it's the only thing he says.
Right.
Oh, brother!
Mind trick enemies before regrouping with BB-8. BB-8, sound cute, only made up by evil Disney execs to sell plushies and toys. Kill stormtroopers with cable spin. Knock down said enemies by dashing. Annoy better hero. Get decapitated. Anyway, defeat Qui-Gon Jinn in battle. Scream Kenobi! Use awesome double-bladed lightsaber whilst throwing them. Choke enemies. Run towards Boba Fett. Boba Fett, look awesome and have jetpack. Fire rockets at unsuspecting infantry. Come down towards the ground to finish off surviving infantry with flame melee. Get spotted by Count Dooku. Get defeated. Count Dooku, become visionary that hates evil. Turns to evil. Fire lightning at enemies of the Confederacy, slowly frying them. Activate duel list. Get into crowd of other lightsaber heroes. Cannot keep up because old. die. Finn, shout Rey forever whilst performing an annoying glitch. Run away scared after gun overheats. Regroup with Leia. Leia, say something rude to Darth Vader. Get accused of being a member of the Rebel Alliance and a traitor. Deny it whilst literally being on board of a rebel spacecraft. Activate alt fire. Shoot at boss. Boss. Be way too overpowered and become very annoying. Hiss constantly like an edgy Leafy fan in 2015. Become a predator. No, not that one. And activate OP thermal vision. Leave around proximity mines everywhere. Run away when seeing Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan Kenobi. Exclaim loudly at the sight
Looking at sea otters.
Push over B1 battle droids, which somehow deactivates them. See Kylo Ren. He finds out that you created Darth Vader. He becomes your biggest fan. Kylo Ren. Be annoying moronic version of Darth Vader. Only remembered for shouting at the prospect of 1580s firing at one man. Pull enemies towards you and impale them using awesome crackly lightsaber. See Han Solo. Physically combust. Han Solo. Find Chewbacca. Use Detonite charge on ATST. Blow it up. Celebrate with Leia Organa. Emperor Palpatine. Very badly attempt to manipulate Anakin Skywalker while sloppily covering the tracks that reveal him to be a Sith Lord. Scream. After it somehow works, zap people to death and cause Redditors to get mad at the chain lightning ability. See Anakin Skywalker reborn with the advantage of hindsight. Run away. Anakin Skywalker. Kill everyone he's known for the last 15 years for dreams about his wife dying whilst genociding an entire religion in the process. Accidentally start genociding any hopeless droid fighting against him before the patch in 2019 when he got added.
Wow, guys, when Darth Vader is born in Revenge of the Sith, you can actually see him, like his lips moving, you can hear it. Anakin Skywalker says Epstein didn't kill himself. When the mask gets put on him. George Lucas really did go too far in some places. I'm like that guy on TikTok. Have you seen this guy? And he's like plugging in a USB.
Look, bro, y'all didn't know this. Also, like when you unplug something from your PC, it go like doo-doo-doo. You heard that? Listen. It said Mark Zuckerberg.
Force choke his wife whilst getting turned into a real-life brisket on Mustafar. Remain a slave for the rest of his life. Until Luke Skywalker. Save Dad after Emperor attempts to kill you. Say some deep things to Del Meeko in the one good bit about the Battlefront 2 campaign. Get spotted by General Grievous that wants your lightsaber. Run. General Grievous. Crawl like a spider and cough continuously. Do awesome Jedi arts with stolen lightsaber. Call someone a fool before being called short. Lash out. Die. Darth Vader. Rack up 80 kill streak. Reenact Rogue One hallway scene. Throw saber. Force choke various different high-ranking Imperials. Rack up another 40 kills. You do not die. Darth Vader OP. And that's about it if I'm being honest. If you did end up enjoying this video, then make sure to hit the subscribe button with more videos coming soon. And with all of that being said, goodbye.